My concern is that within 90-plus days, the territory for Capitol Police will expand. Mr. Wright and others, we need to know the boundaries of the expansion, where it's going to expand to, who's currently not being affected by Capitol Police that will. One thing about Jackson Police is the sensitivity that has been shown over the years with the senior citizens. In the poor neighborhoods, a lot of people 60, late 50s and 70s might not have driver license. They don't go that far. They take mama to the store, those kind of things, to the doctor. They not driving a lot of places. But in most cases, they don't have driver's license. With Capitol Police, you go through a lot of roadblocks. These people are poor. They do not have money to pay these tickets. Now, that's the next issue, legal. If Capitol Police writing tickets in Jackson, why is not the municipal courts handling this situation and getting that tax money? But we'll deal with that another day. The main issue is that we need to prepare people for what's coming with Capitol Police in terms of how they police, the sensitivity that we see with Jackson Police Department. We need that same kind of sensitivity. Don't just write tickets to people just because you have that authority. We understand discretion. You don't have to write a ticket to a grandmama who not doing anything wrong, just trying to go to the store and back home, but might not have driver's license or insurance. You know, somewhere down the line, $100 to them is something they don't have. They can't pay $100 ticket. They buying medicine. They got utilities. They just trying to survive. So we don't want 90 days to come and go, then people see Capitol Police with roadblocks. Let's start now, letting them know the boundaries. If you haven't seen Capitol Police, you finna see them in your neighborhood now. And we hear people saying we want to feel safe. And we hear them saying if Fondren and Bearhaven have Capitol Police, we want them to. We hear all those things. But at the same time, we said, do not over-police. Do not treat everybody, lump everybody the same. Understand some of these poor people. They don't have the money for tickets. They don't have the money to have a brand new car. They drive Humpties, trying to get them fixed. But they are good citizens for this community. So again, I'm just hoping that the expansion will not be a nightmare. So boundaries is important. Boundaries are important. We'll have a meeting Thursday at the Meg Evans Library. Hope we can get someone there. We invite the Capitol Police to come here today to give us an idea of where the boundaries will be, where they're expanding to. And I am more and more concerned about the numbers with Capitol Police. They're slowly as high as our police department. So where's the legislation to stop the growth? Are we gonna allow Capitol Police to have 500 officers, 1,000? The legislature got to say something, members of the House and the Senate. They got to say something to say, look, we're not looking for a police department in Jackson larger than Jackson. We're trying to get some help. And as one gentleman stated, the sheriff department is the #1 police agency in this city. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Stokes. Councilwoman Lindsay.
Thank you. Legal, if it's possible, I would like for the council to get a memo, please, explaining all the ways that the Capitol Police jurisdiction will change come July 1. I think it might be more than just boundaries. But I would just like to get that really clear.
Yeah. Mayor?
Yes, and, you know, I want to keep in mind that there really is still litigation on these matters, but what's supposed to happen July 1, which is going to affect the city in multiple ways, is that they're supposed to take calls for the first time. Capitol Police, as they are currently constructed, their calls are related, are passed through the JPD 911 dispatch service. And so they're supposed to have their own call center. In my discussions with Chief Wade, that seems to be behind schedule and likely won't be ready on time. And so for the benefit of those people that they're supposed to be serving, we want them to know that that's behind time. We'll likely have to fill in the gap, but we want them to know that that transition, the prayer is that there is no lag or no inability to get to their service area, but we want to make people aware of that. So you are correct that it is more than just the jurisdictional lines. It's the ancillary or support services that have to be done. Forgive me for my tardiness. I am not feeling the best. It's nothing contagious. I'm just having sinus issues, and this is something that I haven't dealt with before. But we'll make sure that you have all of the information that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Banks, just as a follow-up.
Yes.
Thank you. I do want to say that Capitol Police have, that the Capitol Police officers have been very helpful in some of the areas of my ward, and I understand that they are working well with JPD and at this time, and so I am grateful to the assistance that they have provided JPD in helping us resolve some of the really terrible issues we were having in my ward. And so I do, though, want to be very clear about, I need to understand exactly all the ways this is going to change. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
One other thing that I forgot to mention that you should be aware of is that the Capitol, first of all, I think that we should commend JPD because they go above and beyond to work with any and every agency that they come into contact with. And so they're going to make it work, regardless of the politics, regardless of the other issues, they're going to make that happen. But the other thing that you should be aware of that is also a further question, just jurisdictional boundaries, is that the Capitol Police will not enforce city ordinances. So any ordinance that this body has either passed, will pass, the expectation is that should be that they will not enforce that. They are not an arm of the city. And so when it comes to noise ordinances, when it comes to things of that nature.
What about the ones we decriminalized?
Say that again?
The ones we decriminalized. You remember when we decriminalized?
Oh, no, then they are going to abide by state statute in all of their work, period. They will not be held to any decisions of the city because state law supersedes and they are an arm of the state.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
I do want to be very clear about this. In no way do I underappreciate JPD. My first call is always to JPD. And they have been incredibly responsive, super professional. I think you all know how happy I am about Chief Wade's appointment, Mr. Mayor. And so I just want to be very clear, though, that this is in my area, certain parts of my ward, this partnership has been fruitful,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, and I want to be clear that my comments were not to suggest that you in any way did not value JPD. I just wanted to take that moment, just by comparison, so that our residents know. JPD, their call volume, the things that they're dispatched to are still about 10 to 1, meaning they do 10 times the work that Capitol Police or any other agency in the city of Jackson does. And that's per my discussions with the district attorney. And so I want people to have a perspective and a scope of what this looks like. But no, I was not trying to suggest that in any way.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Yeah, hold on, Mr. Stokes, before you go, just a question. Just based on what you just said, because there and now, the state has taken away our ability to legislate and to deal with our own ordinances. If what you're saying is what is, I mean, then it's basically just snatched our legislative authority away when it comes to ordinances that our constituents elected us into office to make sure we're on the books, either one way or the other. And so I wonder if there's some room there. You know, it's not that I don't appreciate Capitol Police. I appreciate them. I appreciate the visibility. Visibility is your number one deterrence. I will always say that. However, when this body has, based on its citizenry, enacted certain legislation like the decriminalization of marijuana, when it has enacted certain legislation, and now that legislation does not have to be abided for, then in essence, what the state has done is taken away our legislative authority to have any laws on the books, especially if they're going to be within our city. So I wonder if there's a legal remedy or something that we could talk to at some point when it comes to the nature of just that.
Well, I would say that that's more than likely a conversation for executive session.
Yeah.
There is, as I said at the start of this discussion, that there is still pending litigation. And it's dealing with a number of things. It's not just the question of those who do or don't want Capitol Police. It's the judicial system that is attached, where do cases go to. It's this question that you now raise. It gets into equal protection questions. It gets into, voter rights questions based on the court system that is being proposed. So that's, all of those questions have surfaced, more will surface, but I would suspect that your questions now are an executive session question to see what the city feels that, whether it could be done just by conversation or agreement or legislation, or whether some other avenues need to be pursued.
Okay.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. President, the climate in certain neighborhoods in this city is at a stage of concern, especially since the goon squad situation over in Rankin County. And some of the citizens need to be assured that Capitol Police and the goon squad mentality will not exist in Jackson. And we got to say it, it's a lot of pussyfooting around with the issues, but we got to tell what these people are saying and what they're scared of. They need to come out and meet with communities. Capitol Police need to come out, talk to people, and let people know we expanding, we're gonna have roadblocks. Man, we see all these high-speed chases. People are in danger. You got a high-speed chase, somebody that's 70 years old, they panic, they steer the wrong way and get killed, get run over. Somewhere down the line, there's got to be a meeting of the minds. And then secondly, poor people just do not have money to get out of jail. Capitol Police have access to different jails. somebody who would normally, an older person, somebody who really shouldn't be placed in jail, is finna go to jail when they get put over now. If they not legitimate in terms of having their paperwork and license and other things, somebody need to come to these communities, tell us and make sure that you after criminals and not these good citizens who just trying to survive and been in Jackson all their life. Somebody need to assure these citizens that you're not finna become an accident. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you.